It's time. Time to get inspired and empowered. To realize it's never too late to create your next amazing story. Get ready to break through, transform, and start living the life of your dreams. So, are you ready? Truly ready to begin your journey to create your next amazing story in life and love? Great. Let's jump in with your host, Life and Love Transformational Coach, Suzanne Oshima.
Welcome to the It's Never Too Late show. I'm Marjorie Fiore, your guest host for today's show. And today we're turning the tables and I'll be interviewing Suzanne Oshima. Suzanne's a life and love transformational coach at Your Next Amazing Story. And today we're talking about the signs that he wants a serious relationship with you. It's going to be a good one. But Suzanne, before we jump in, I'd love for you to share with the audience who you serve and why.
Sure. So I serve single women in midlife, and I help them transform midlife into their best life and find love again in their next chapter. And it's something that I'm truly passionate about. And I always want women in midlife to truly understand that it's never too late to find love again.
Oh, I love to hear that. I love to hear that. So let me ask you this. If you haven't dated for a long time, you're just getting back out there in midlife especially, it can be confusing to figure out if a man wants to play the field or if he actually wants a serious relationship. Why is this so much more confusing now than when we were in our 20s?
Well, if you think about it, and I love this question because, if you think about women in midlife, we're all at different points, but let's just give a range around 50s to 70s, right? And if you think about it, if we've been married for maybe 20, 30 years is back when we were in our 20s and 30s, right? If that was the last time that we dated, and then we get back out there in our 50s, 60s, or 70s, is that it could seem a lot different. Because in our 20s and 30s, everything was a little bit more organic. I hear people say all the time, back when I was in my 20s, before I met my husband, we just dated one man at a time. There wasn't this thing of dating, multiple men and playing the field. It was once you got serious, then you got married, if the relationship worked, but it wasn't as complicated back then. So I find that a lot of women, once they come out of a long-term relationship or a divorce, right, if they've been married a long time, this can seem really confusing to them. They're like, that's not how we did it back then. So,
and I would imagine too that a little bit of the pressure is that we are later in life. So when you're younger, it's not really the first thing on your radar because it kind of, for most of us, happens a little more organically. You date a bunch of people, you're in your 20s, maybe 30s, and then you get married. But if you're well into your 50s, you're like, oh, I don't want to be alone the rest of my life. So we do have that little bit of like the clock is ticking kind of sense of urgency. But is it okay to date more than one person at a time?
Yeah, it definitely is. And I love what you said, though, because it's interesting when you said, the clock is ticking for us in our 50s or whatever it is, 50s to 70s, is that's a different type of clock ticking, right? Is when we were in our 20s and 30s, our clock was ticking to have children. And so you're right. This is like the life clock of ticking. And so we don't want to waste time. And also, I believe we as women in midlife, we're smarter, we're wiser, and we're not going to put up, hopefully, with the man that's not serious about us. And we want to move on quickly if he's not looking for a serious relationship. So that being said, to answer your question is, yes, a woman should date multiple men. But like I said, going back to how she was maybe in her 20s and 30s, is I find sometimes that can be confusing for women. Is it okay for them to date multiple men? And I want all women to hear this, is the answer is yes, it's okay. You are not doing anything wrong, and you are not in a serious relationship with a man until you have that conversation that you're exclusive. I think that's one of the mistakes that we can make, is we assume that we're in a serious relationship and he's out there dating multiple women and you think it's not okay for you. So it's important to remember you're not in a serious relationship until you have that conversation.
Now, that can be a tough conversation to actually have. So, without directly asking him, are there some telltale signs that he wants a serious relationship?
Yeah, there are. And I think it's super, super important for women to really watch out for some of these signs, because no one wants to have this awkward conversation of, are we in a serious relationship? It's one thing if he brings it up, then that's great. But for us as women, I know so many women who have anxiety about bringing it up because what if he doesn't tell her what she wants to hear?
Right.
So I'll give you about 5 signs that I think are super important to watch out for. And this means it is progressing along to a serious relationship. So when you're out there dating and it's the very beginning stages, is one of the things as it progresses along is that he will contact you on a consistent basis, whether it's texting, phone calls. Like there won't go 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even a month without hearing from him, because if you're seeing that big of gaps, he's probably not looking for either anything serious or anything serious with you. So that's the first one. Okay. The second one, I would say, that kind of goes along with that same thought process of he's contacting you on a consistent basis, is that he's also contacting you and asking you out on dates so that you're seeing him on a consistent basis. Again, not several weeks, months going in between, and then all of a sudden he pops in out of the blue. Hey, what are you doing Friday night? Is that, it doesn't have to be every week that you see him in the very beginning stages, but at least is he contacting you on a consistent basis so that it's filling those gaps and you're not seeing these long stretches of, where is he? Is he interested? I'm not. You won't have question marks in your head. Like I'm thinking of a cartoon where they have all the question marks in their head going, I'm not sure. So that would be the second sign to watch out for. If he's contacting you on a consistent basis, you're seeing him on a consistent basis, that means things are progressing, that you may not be in an exclusive relationship, but they're progressing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and don't you think that if those two things are happening, just those two things, that even your conversations kind of provide the better signals? If you're seeing each other more frequently, then you both kind of have, you can start to presume that you will see each other the next Tuesday or whatever your cycle has been. But if there's a consistency in contact and seeing each other, it kind of makes the conversations easier because they'll naturally evolve to either short-term future, long-term future, or something more serious, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. You bring up a really great point, which brings me to the next point, which was perfect, is those conversations. Are they going deeper? Are you both being vulnerable with each other and sharing things with each other and building that trust with each other and feeling that sense of security and safety with each other, that you're starting to really make more of an emotional connection with each other? And you'll start to see where he starts to trust you. And he may say things like, gosh, I've never shared that with anybody. You're the first person I've ever shared that with because I feel so comfortable with you. And I know, Marjorie, when it becomes like being vulnerable and putting yourself out there, it can be scary. But I will tell you, if you do, you open the door to him saying, oh, it's okay for me to too. Right?
Right. I love that.
So the next one that I would say is that he starts talking about future plans with you. Like he starts talking about, when the holidays are coming up. So like, let's just say it was October and Thanksgiving's coming up, and he starts talking about, I was thinking for Thanksgiving, maybe we could go see my parents up in the Catskills or wherever. Right?
I know. Right? Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, or he says, I don't know what you were thinking about for New Year's, but I was thinking maybe we could do this, and it's only October. And so that's when he's thinking about future things with you.
I think it's called lock it up. Lock it in, right?
Oh, you're so funny. Yeah, I would call it future pacing, right?
Oh, okay.
Like you're progressing to certain levels in the relationship. But yeah, I mean, ladies, every time a man has said that to you in the early stages of dating, doesn't that make you feel, oh, it's a little bit more secure, we're going somewhere? And so it's important to watch out for those things where he starts talking about having you at family events or work events. Trust me, a man will not bring you to a work event if he doesn't feel like he's getting serious about you, or that you can handle your own at a work event, because no man wants to bring a woman that's gonna embarrass him, in front of his work colleagues, his boss. He wants someone that can really hold her own. And then lastly, I would say, I lost my train of thought. What was my last thing? Actually, it was meeting the friends and family. So the work event and the friends and family, if he talks about you meeting important people in his life and going to dinners, events, parties, holiday events, it's important to really watch out for, is he including you or is he excluding you? So
it's just a natural progression, like how it should, because I think that, okay, so you said consistent contact, actually asking you out, not just calling you for booty calls. You said, I said that, you didn't say that. Making sure the conversations are going deeper, starting to emotionally connect, that there's some sense of making future plans together, and that he's expanding you into his other, his friends and family and his other social circles. But I think what's cool is I just got this idea that, not to look at the negative side, but you can also use these for like the red flag if these things aren't happening.
Good
like if
point.
he says, oh my gosh, we've had so much fun, but I'm going to be away for the holidays, or I have to do this, or I can't see you next Friday because I have a work event, or I'm going with friends. Like it could be, and we all have instincts. We all know, we go, gosh, I wonder why he didn't want me to go, or wonder why he didn't. So I think it's kind of cool that we could use that to say, if these things aren't happening, maybe it's time you go to plan B.
Yeah. Great point. That is such a good point.
And I would also say, because I know I've dated somebody in the past where I'm like, there's no way I'm taking him to a work party. So it's like, if but seriously, these are really signs. Like, don't fool yourself. Like, don't have the head and the heart, like, challenge. Just, when you know, because we have, we need to trust our instincts. But you're right. We can get so, like, I love when you said there's that, when you start having the conversations, that it increases the level of security, and that's when we feel confident, and that's when I feel like, we can be a little bit relieved that we're on the same page and not be sitting like you're a high school girl listening to Journey waiting for your boyfriend to come by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that was just me. I'm sorry. So,
are you reliving a point in your life?
Yeah, I
am. Oh, you're so funny.
Well, those were 5 great signs. So great. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that, or
no? I think there's a lot of other signs, but I think those are the main ones that, like you said, follow your intuition. If it's progressing, or if it feels like, oh, I only see him once a week and we're not going anywhere because he contacts me here and there and there's long gaps. It's not to say stop seeing him, right, but that's why you should see multiple men and see what happens. The right one will rise to the top. The wrong ones will fall off by the wayside. They'll be roadkill. Sometimes you
need that friend, that guy friend that's just a lot of fun to be around.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that too. So it's just like, just keep your head on straight. But these are 5 great points. This was really amazing, and it was a lot of fun. And I know you have a free online masterclass, The Secrets to Meet a Quality Man. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how people can get registered?
Sure. So The Secrets to Meet a Quality Man, it's my free live masterclass. And I tell you the number one way to meet a quality man And I also tell you the real reason why you're not meeting any quality men online. And I know, ladies, what you're thinking. You're thinking that it's the site. It's not the site. Trust me. I'm going to tell you the secret formula on how to turn it around so that you can start meeting and attracting quality men around your age online, and it will make everything easier to help you find love again in your next chapter.
Wow. So how can they register for it?
They can just click here on the video, or if you're listening to the podcast, you can go to yournextamazingstory.com, and it's right at the top of the website, and you can register for that.
Okay, go do that, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today on the It's Never Too Late show. Hopefully now you're convinced it's never too late. The show is available in both video and podcast format, which can be found at yournextamazingstory.com, which is the same place you can register for the online class. Okay, take care.
Love today's episode of the It's Never Too Late show? Then head on over to yournextamazingstory.com to continue the conversation, get access to show notes, and get more amazing content.